Alright, so in this video I'm going to talk about how I started learning Japanese by myself and the reasons why I started doing so, the techniques and things that I use to learn Japanese and how to stay motivated and how to enjoy the process a lot to pretty much achieve whatever level you want, to be able to read it, write it, speak it, be able to listen to it or watch anime in my case. Yeah, and like quick little history about me. I'm not really a polyglot. I do realize that if you're the sort of person who knows languages already, learning languages is a lot easier once you know a few of them. But for me, not the case. I'm not particularly bright or anything like that, and that's not trying to put myself down. I just got really average grades in school or whatever. So point is, not necessarily like gifted in this sector or anything like that. Anyway, so for me, not any type of skill, no kind of background in it. Just thought I'd let you know in the case of full disclosure, in case you're thinking some type of way. Now I'm just going to show you the materials that I use and just give a little explanation as to what I'm doing. Alright, so obviously here I've got the go-to bread and butter for any foreigner trying to learn Japanese is Genki. So Genki is useful because it pretty much teaches you first everything with hiragana and romanji, which pretty much means if you're gonna learn Japanese, you need to know hiragana because it's basically like Egyptian hieroglyphics. You might as well use it. You need it. But then after a while, it sort of tapers off, and then it goes through different categories. So for example, the first sort of side of it, you have talking about people's countries, being able to introduce yourself, say I'm from here, and things like that. You can say your name and just very basic introductory things that you'd probably learn in any language. But what I like about Genki is that it does have a lot of exercises. I do think it is best with another person because it has a lot of classroom type activity sort of things inside. But it also tells you as well, if you want to like learn hiragana, you can use it as like a baseline. It wasn't my personal way because my personal way of learning, which I'll get into in a second, is more like rote learning. But this one's very useful too. One of my favorite units that I've done so far is the shopping unit. When you're saying something like, これはいくらですか? How much is this? And then you can say, この時は5000 yen desu, right? 5000 yen, not yen. See, that was a mistake. In Japan, they don't say yen, they say en, but obviously we call it yen. But anyway, you have things like that. It's super useful. So for me to formulate the grammar side of it and the more contextual side of it, I'm using Genki. It is quite a long book and there's quite a few additions to it. The only thing that my slight problem with it at the moment is that, well, it's twofold. A lot of it is group based, so sometimes you would have to actually like potentially use a partner, but like, I kind of just talk to myself. I talk to myself a lot anyway. And the second thing is that I really want to learn the grammar fast, and it's only slowly sprinkling me parts of grammar. Because when I study Korean, I use Talk to Me in Korean, which is a very specific grammar book, and that's been really helpful. So I'm hoping this will give me more grammar soon. If that's not the case, I'll probably just like keep using this and just hope for the best, or get a different book. Who knows? And something I probably should have spoken about first was how I learned hiragana and katakana. Of course, hiragana and katakana, like everyone will tell you, it's the first thing you need to learn when you learn Japanese, which is pretty obvious. I'm not going to try and tell you anything that you don't already know, but I will show you the way that I learned it. I'll show you what I use. I use this app called Write Japanese. So like write Japanese is in like, you know, writing Japanese, or Write It Japanese. It's here, and I think you can get it on Apple Store and you can get it on Google Play. Pretty much what it is, it gives you all the hiragana and little sections and katakana, and what you do, pretty much you click it, it'll do like a lesson. So for example, practice. It'll say ah. You have to go like this. That is one hand up, and then you just have to write the ah like this, and then you have to do it again, and then so you e. Kind of want to do with one finger. Anyway, you get the point, right? Pretty much when I was actually in Japan, I had the same problem I had in Korea, where I was just like, I can't read anything. It's kind of frustrating me. I want to learn the language anyway. And while I was in Japan, which was in March time, I was there for a month. I looked around me, kind of like translated all the hiragana, katakana, and I kept using this app just when I was on the train, bus, like just any time I had free time. And I'll be honest with you, I learned it pretty fast. I don't know if that makes me particularly smart, if it takes a few days, but I think a lot of people say you can do it even in a few hours, and that's not me, so don't worry. I think most people could do it in less than a week. All right, so those are the main things for the beginning. So obviously it's the hiragana, katakana, learning to write, using your genki in order to pretty much learn a lot of basic vocabulary, learn how to string some sentences together. It gives you a lot of speaking practice. It's good to pretty much go to this after you've learned hiragana and katakana, and then start working on this. This part is every Nihonjin's favorite part of learning their own language, which is the kanji. Everyone loves kanji. I'm saying this with a lot of sarcasm in case you're American and you can't tell. Kanji is pretty much like the Chinese derivative of the language. It's the part of the language which people find very confusing because it's a very complicated symbol and there's thousands of them, and not only are there thousands of them, the ones that you do know also have different variations when they're combined with things together. I'm just going to give you one example just to illustrate my point. But I'll show you how I started learning kanji. As a supplement, what I usually do, I'll just get my tablet. You can use your phone too. And I got this app called Kanji, or I think it's just called Kanji by itself. It's just called Kanji and it looks like this. And it breaks it down into the JLPT levels. And JLPT is pretty much like the official fluency test that Japan offer. And obviously I'm gonna click on level 1. And then I'll show you. So I click on level 1. And if I go on here, it gives you all of them from the first level. All of them. The red ones are the ones I'm still practicing, and the green ones are the ones I've pretty much mastered. But if I make a mistake, it makes me do it again. And again, similar with the other app, all you gotta do, go lesson, and then 5, 6, blah, blah, blah. And then it'll make you draw it. And then it will tell you how to pronounce it. If you've learned hiragana and katakana first, that's amazing because you won't be able to use this app at all because you're not gonna know what this says. I would use this app primarily to practice kanji, but just because it's so good at keeping track of how far you are. Even if you forget them later on and you do them again, they'll go red. So it just is a reminder just to try it again. Last one is just pretty much plain and simple notes. This is not, rewriting the game in any way at all. I've literally just do it like this. So I was doing some genki today. Here, just got some phrases. Here, the only major thing I can sort of tell you that maybe someone's not doing is the coloring that you use for your notes. And I'd say that's really useful. If you have a tablet, you can color things easily. You change them unless you want to carry loads of pens and highlighters. It's fine. But for example, a sentence like this. So it says, Mr. Yamada is not a student. So, Yamada-san, gakusei janai desu. So here, you can see I've circled the new bit here, janai desu. That's the bit I just learned on that day. And here I put yellow. So if you see here, it says gakusei. Gakusei means student. But here the yellow is the kanji of student. And this is the hiragana, right? And for me, it's just helpful because I can practice my kanji and I can sort of sync them together in my head of what is what. From there, it covers all the major bases. So the basis so we have learning hiragana, katakana, level 1, I use the app. Then get to work with some genki, which is going to give you a lot of vocabulary, speaking practice, and a lot of contextual things like classrooms, traveling, introducing yourself, etc., etc. And then using the kanji one as a side sort of thing, just to help you build up that kanji vocabulary and be able to even use it while you're doing your kanji work as well. Your genki work as well. So yeah, overall, I think that is pretty much it on how I learned Japanese. I wasn't going to go too much into it. And again, of course, there's the obvious part of watching anime and listening to things that you like and playing games. And I think that's really cool as well. I mean, I don't think I need to make a whole segment of the video just to talk about that because it's pretty self-explanatory. The only footnote I'd give to that is maybe when you are watching it, try and watch it with English and Japanese subtitles. And if you can, try and get furigana, which has the kanji and the hiragana, so you can pretty much understand a bit more what you're watching. But I think, to be honest, a lot of people that study Japanese probably like Japanese media anyway, so just continue what you're doing. Maybe have certain days where you put the subs on for Japanese, and then you have the English dub, or most of the time what people do, of course, is just have the Japanese dub and then have the English sub under it. But yeah, anyway, completely up to you. So I hope you enjoyed this video on how I pretty much try to study Japanese. I might make another video on Korean if anybody wants that, because my Korean level is way higher than my Japanese, just based on the fact that I've only been doing this for 2 months, and Korean I've been studying for like, I don't know, pretty much like at least a year and a half. So anyway, catch you guys in a bit. Bye.